Alright, we've got Nordic. Find out in a moment what our mat is. It'll load. Okay, we got balanced workforce. Terrible objective. I think I've only ever won 2 games where I went for it. King of the Hill. Oh boy, we've got Industrial Nordic. Patriotic Saxony, Agricultural Crimea, and Rustfield Mechanical. Okay, we're gonna do our best here. This is definitely an uphill climb. Well, we're gonna start with some oil. It's a universal constant for Nordic that it's difficult early to get more than 1 worker on the metal. So getting some upgrades here is going to help us produce our mechs more efficiently. Rustfeed's going to produce, of course. They almost always double produce at the beginning, although I came up with a opening for Rustfeed Innovative the other day that I'd love to try out that actually starts by trading oil. Good move by Sachs. I like the trade for oil start. Okay, Rustfeed's in the game, Albion's not. Of course, we're gonna go this way. Start trying to set up our economy. Crimea is going for some upgrades here on the agricultural board early, which is interesting. Saxony's probably going to upgrade their bolster and their deploy, or their move and their deploy. Go and bolster first. It usually doesn't matter. Okay, we're going to trade for 2 oil here. And we're going to trade for 2 oil because we're going for 2 upgrades on this mech here. So trading for 2 oil means we're 1 more trade action away from doing this twice. This is a mistake by Rustfield here. Now, Rustfield can make mistakes and still win the game because they're Rustfield. Splitting your workers up like this before you have a mech is almost never as efficient as just, in their case, with the mechanical mat producing 2 or 3 times and then either instantly building a mech or trading for metal. Build the mech. Okay, so we're in round 4. We have enough to get our first upgrade. And we're gonna go for the bolster. What Rustfield does now. Probably a produce, right? No, they're still distributing their workers. want to do now. Scott, do you ever go for buildings early with the Nords? Let me take the turn real quick, and then I can talk about that. I'm wishing now, and I'd upgraded my upgrade first, but let's go ahead and trade for 2 oil. So buildings with the Nordic, there's some thought that it's worthwhile with Polani or Nordic to get a mill in your 3rd turn and put it on this mountain. And the bots will actually do that occasionally too. In kind of mapping out opening sequences, what I've generally found is it takes about the same number of turns with most mats to get the wood for a building and then build a mill as it does to get an upgrade. So I'd rather have the upgrade because then I get more power for bolstering and more movement for moving. I'm not, generally speaking, and I'm happy to know about it if there's an exception, but what I've found on most mats is it takes to get buildings are going to cost 3 wood or 4 wood. I think the 4 wood buildings are under produce, 3 wood buildings are under move, and the 4 wood buildings are under trade. So it's going to take 3 turns in any case for the most part. Let's see. It's going to take 3 turns in almost any case to get that building. I can have an upgrade in that amount of time or less, and I'd rather have the upgrade than the mill, unless I'm going for the build star and I'm trying to get all the buildings. In that event, well, yeah, I'll go for the mill early, but that's not the case in a lot of situations. But Crimea gets here. Going 2 food and a popularity. See, they've got their workers split up too, which I don't really like that. It's not quite as efficient. So let's think about what we're doing here for a second. Can produce, won't give us a mech. But then if we produce again, we'll have 5 workers and we'll put a speed mech over here. Let's go ahead and produce once. We don't have to get that bottom row action every single time, because we're probably not going to go for enlists with this industrial board. BuzzFeed's got their first mech. Crimea has their first enlist. It looks like they're ready to get a second one. They're going for the card upgrade option, which can be really nice, and they may have been wise to go for it the way Rustviet's playing, because Rustviet isn't going for a farm, and Saxony with the patriotic board, they probably still won't do enlist because they're Saxony. But the thing about going for that combat card upgrade instead of the bolster is it doesn't take you too many uses of it to just have a surplus, just more than you can use. And when that happens and you have more combat cards you can use, well, the power star is not happening now and it's out of reach, which means you're likely getting 2 combats if you can do your I'm sorry. You have to get 2 combats. You don't get the power star, and you can do your objective. You have to get 2 combats. And if you don't have a good objective, well then you're having to stray into other stars. Because what Crimea would like to do with the agricultural board is get the power star, mech star, enlist star, objective, worker star, and 1 combat. Can't get the objective, it's 2 combats. That's only if you can get the power star. If you don't upgrade the bolster and you don't get the power star and you can't do your objective, then you're kind of reaching for something that's going to take a lot of extra turns. Let's see, what else do we want? We're going to get this because since we're not going for enlist, we're not going to get a lot of combat cards. Yeah, we're trailing here. Ramia's already at tier 2. Uphill battle here. Fighting against superior economies. Scott, are there certain stars you always plan on getting? Yes, for the most part. There are some combinations that are the exception. So, engineering Nordic and agricultural Nordic and agricultural Tagawa are 3 different combinations I've successfully gone no mechs with multiple times, except Tagawa, which I've only done once. And when you go with a mechless strategy, it changes. Generally speaking, the easiest stars you can get are going to be your worker star, because you're getting workers anyway, your mech star, and your 2 combat stars, and your objective star too. So if you can get the objective without departing much from your game plan, you want to, right? If you can get mechs, and it's worth it to get mechs, the mechs are going to lead to combats. The mechs also really help with late game worker spread. So think about it this way: the build star doesn't synergize with getting any other stars. Mechs help you get combats. Mechs help you get territories. There's a power star, right, which can be cumbersome to get, but the power star helps with combats. The objective star is usually worth it if it doesn't take you more than 1 turn from your normal strategy to get. With a second, probably spend $3 to enlist this recruit. Or he could pay the 2 popularity for a worker and 3 food. That might be better to get the food. I'll take the worker though, because he's going 5 workers. Got river walk and speed. See, if he paid the 2 popularity to get the 3 food, he wouldn't have had to spend the $3, and his very next produce action, he would have gotten the enlist anyway. Although what he's trying to do is save himself a turn, because now he has 3 workers underneath it on his farm. It's underneath. So we're gonna move now, and we're gonna do this little trick where we leave a worker on the village. We're glad Saxony just moved, because it means he can't hit us right there. We're really vulnerable. We just have a 2 combat card, and if we get booted right there, we don't have Seaworthy yet. The reason we leave the worker on the village is it means our last 2 produces, we can get ourselves to the worker star without having to move back onto a village and spend a turn doing that. Okay, These are not good options. This is not a great option because we're not planning on enlisting. So where's any additional popularity coming from? It's $2 or something that won't get us to tier 2. This would be good, except we need 1 popularity because toward the end we're going to produce here as well as here and here. Get to 2 workers, so we'll have a total of 6, and then we'll produce 1 more time, and this will turn into 4, giving us 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we need 1 popularity. So we can't give up both. So just for lack of anything better to do, the encounter did not help us out at all. And we were watching, and Saxony cannot move this turn. Crimea has Riverwalk and can move, but they can't get farther than here. They certainly can't get up to where we are. Scott Harris, it's the Home Scythe Clinic. Yeah. Try to keep it entertaining, you know, fill the time while people are thinking about their turns. So Saxony is Crimea's best friend right now because they're enlisting. You don't see that very often with Saxony. And I kind of messed up my rotation here because now I've got this metal here I don't need. And what do we have? 3 more upgrades. We'll get to the Power Star, no trouble this way. So let's put Seaworthy here. It doesn't do much work to defend the resources because we just have the 1 combat card. But what it does mean is if we get attacked, we can then counterattack with 2 mechs. Because what we would probably do if we get attacked is spend 1 power or something like that to get a 2nd combat card, and then we could come back with a double attack. The way this Saxony is playing though, I'd be a little bit surprised if they attacked us. They might. They do have 8 power and 7 cards. And their upgrade is underneath their move action. But we needed Seaworthy. Getting bumped from here back to base is just so hard to overcome. Scott Harris. Oh, I wanted you to pick the 3rd option on the encounter to see what the interface looks like when looking at that opponent's cards. Never seen that. I have used it maybe once, and it just populates down here, and it shows the 3 factions. And you click on one of them, and it shows you the cards. And then you get your cards. It does not tell you if someone else picks the option whose cards they looked at. Let's see what Saxony does. I say they build a building. I may be wrong, but yep, they build a building. So let's think about this. We got 3 more upgrades. Can we afford to deviate from the Power Star here and get some combat cards? So we get some combat cards here. Then we produce. Yeah, I think we can. And we need them. We need them badly. Let's get this one and make these enlist cheaper. So, oh, we got good cards. That's great. So now we're feeling a lot more secure. We have 2 more mechs to do, which means 2 more produces, which means we were right to get this, because we'll produce on these 3 spots. Producing here twice, which means we'll get enough oil for these upgrades. We just have to time this right. So we produce, spend a power, that gets us down to 10. Then we bolster, gets us to 13, spend some oil. I think then we see if we can move to the factory. maybe get a combat card in our objective at the same time. I'm not sure about that. We'd have to bluff Rustviet and we'd be taking a risk. He's got a lot of power. And we want that power star, so we're not keen to spend it. Saxony's just going to run their economy. See how that goes for them. Not well so far. Let's do artillery. Artillery is a nice deterrent to being attacked. What do you think? If we hit Rustviet with 2 units, we can bluff him successfully? We won't use artillery because he's got a good bit of power. We have less than him now, so we won't get King of the Hill right away. Probably need to go for it, because if Rustviet locks down that factory with 3 or 4 units, we can kiss our objective goodbye. Oh, he left it. It's wonderful. This is not wonderful, though. He's getting more power. Okay, he just took the 2 option. That's good. Alright, we now have enough oil left for our remaining upgrades. The only reason we're going to need to produce is to turn these 2 workers into 4. So I think we're going to start spreading out here a little bit. No, that's not right. We have to bolster, right? We have to bolster and get an upgrade, and then use our move action, so we can bolster again and hit the power star. Uh-oh. What's Saxony doing? That's interesting. Gonna go for more mechs, I guess. Kind of wish now that I'd gone Riverwalk so I could spread workers into this area where they're unlikely to get bumped. Alright. Bolster. Then the 2 oil. This part doesn't really matter. Scott, do lakes count as territories controlled at the end of the game? I think they do, right? They do. But here's the thing with the lakes. You can't drop a worker on a lake. So if you start here, if you can move this way, you can drop a worker here and move the mech to there and pick up 2 territories with 1 move. If you go this way, you can drop a worker here and land on a lake and add 2 territories with 1 move. But the next time you move, you drop a worker here and move to lake and just add 1 territory, because you lose this one because you can't leave a worker there. The other thing is I don't really want to move and leave a worker here, because I'm going to get 4 workers here, and I'm going to put my last mech up here to spread them out this way. So ideally, I would have gotten the Riverwalk mech last time. I'm just usually kind of eager to get artillery, because if someone's on the fence about attacking you, artillery can keep them from doing it. let's move. All right, factory card. We're gonna get this one. We're gonna get this one because it's gonna enable us to combine 2 turns into 1. Next turn, we're gonna go for the bolster, get our upgrade star and our power star, right? So we'll be at 2 stars. The turn after that, oh, no. Oh well. I forgot we still needed to do one more legit produce to place our last mech. But sometimes, I thought I was doing this, but I wasn't. Sometimes you can get this card if you need one more produce. You don't need what's under produce, but you do need to combat, because it can chain something like getting your worker star together with a combat. So that's something to look for. This isn't a good example of when that's a good idea, unfortunately. Oh, we're gonna get 3 stars this turn because we get our objective too. What's the score look like? We're doing just fine. Star 1, star 2, star 3. That ought to get their attention. And now we're up by 8. Next turn we'll get 2 stars. Scott, none of those factory cards looked ideal for your current state. Yeah, that's probably right. If I'd gotten to 4 mechs already, this one would have been kind of perfect, but I hadn't, so I won't end up using it. What's our lead here? Our lead is 8. We'll have 3 units in striking distance of the factory. So if we get bumped off the factory, we can come back and attack it. I would expect that someone will attack us on the factory soon. We don't have to worry about any number of workers they bring. Saxony has no interest in what we're doing, it would appear. So Rustviet can hit us with 1 unit. Maya can hit us with 1 unit. I take that back. Rustviet has townships, so they can hit us with effectively 3-4 units. Hey, Pfeiffer. Yes, how you doing tonight, Pfeiffer? Yeah, we were talking about, yeah, lakes are territories. That's correct, of course. We were just talking about how they're tricky though, because you can't leave workers on them. So if you start on a regular hex territory and go over a lake, you only pick up one additional. Let's see here. That. That. Just not to give anybody incentive to attack us in different places. Pfeiffer, I'm doing well. I looked for you. You weren't here, so I started a game. I've been here for about, let's see, it says 38 minutes exactly. So Rustviet has to attack the factory this turn. Okay, they didn't. That's probably game. That is probably game. Look at this, guys. Nordic Industrial, we're sitting on 20 coin. That is not bad, the industrial mat. Byford must have just missed you. Yeah, guess so. Guess so. Byford, I got subscribers up in the top right and viewers in the bottom left tonight. You like it? Showing it to Scott earlier. Subscribers up here, view count down here. The view count lags a little bit, it seems, but Saxony can't move. We are substantially in the lead. We can hit a singular mech right here from here. We have over 7 power and a 5. Crimea does not have scout. This is good game, guys. I'm gonna pull out a win with Nordic Industrial here against Rustviet and Crimea. Let's move number 1. Two. Number 3. Yeah, why not? The green and red text in the bottom right, the chart. God. Green and red text, bottom right. Oh, is the chat populating in the window? Are things you guys are chatting about showing up? All right, guys, that was Nordic Industrial in 19 turns. And let's go ahead and queue up another one.